And welcome back to the Daily Dribble podcast, guys. As always, I'm your host, Nick Zammit, here back after a little week hiatus. A little opportunity to hit the refresh and reset button just as we start to approach playoff basketball. Most teams now in the vicinity of around 15 games to go in the regular season, give or take. So I thought it was an opportune time just to kind of pump the brakes a little bit before we get into the most hectic time of year. Now, if you tuned into our last episode, I went through the Eastern Conference, giving my contenders or pretenders. This week, back with the West. Now, essentially, how it works is I'm going to be going through and giving all the teams that are still somewhat in contention to win the title. Essentially, teams that are pretty much within a sniff of the playoff, play-in, should I say, and above. They're going to get a ranking of pretender or contender. Now, there might be a few curly ones that are somewhat unexpected here in the Western Conference, but it'll make sense momentarily when I get into it. As I always say, I would love to hear your thoughts on this, what I got right, what I got wrong, and who you would have as a contender or a pretender. Now, just before I get into things, a big shout out to both Stadium Scene and The Cover, both those networks continuing to showcase all of my work here at the Daily Dribble, as well as a whole host of other content creators in and around Australia, New Zealand, the US, and Canada. Very, very appreciative for all their continued hard work and support. Likewise, for all you guys tuning in and week out, staying up to date with all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Been a little bit more quiet as of late on the socials, but hopefully now as playoffs start to appear on the horizon, the content will continue to ramp up. So be sure to be tuning in to all of them. Okay, let's not stand on ceremony any longer. Let's start with my first team here, the San Antonio Spurs. For me, they've got to be a pretender. Now, with Wemby, this might have been a different answer. It really derailed their season, him going down. They were looking like a team heading into the season with the acquisitions of Chris Paul, of Harrison Barnes, of rookie Stephen Castle. That looked like they might have been a playoff aspiring team. As soon as the franchise star, Wemby, who would have been crowned DPOY this year, as soon as he went down, it kind of put a bit of a halt on those plans. They're still hanging around the periphery, but it doesn't look as if they will make the play-in. At the moment, they currently sit, 3.5 games back of the Suns there in 10th for the final play-in spot. So I don't think they'll get it done there. Therefore, they are a pretender for me. Moving on to the Portland Trail Blazers. Now, I find them a super fun team. I think Denny Advia, he's playing some of the best ball of his career in this most recent stretch. They've still got injuries to key personnel, Rob Williams there, DeAndre Ayton. I'm excited to see what this team can do, though. If they can kind of build on what they've already got, Scoot Henderson there, as I said, the aforementioned Denny Advia, Donovan Clingan, Anthony Simons. I don't know, there's quite a lot to like about where they're currently poised. That being said, for this season, though, despite them still being in the play-in mix, 3 games back there of 10th, I've got to put them as a pretender. Moving on to my next team, the Dallas Mavericks. They are a pretender. Now, since Luka Doncic left, what a fall from grace it's been. Injuries have absolutely ran rampant over this squad. Really disappointing given how much hope that this season held. After making the NBA Finals last year, Luka into the fold, Kyrie, some of their younger players taking the next step. They were really looking poised to go deep into the playoffs and potentially an NBA title winner. That's what their ceiling was this season. They are nowhere near that now. They're lucky to just get a team on the court at this stage. They were one of the few teams in NBA or recent NBA history that was looking at forfeiting games. You need a minimum of 8 players to suit up. They were pretty well bang on the money there. So, that just kind of shows where they're at the moment. Again, it is disappointing. AD's just returned, but with Kyrie out for the rest of the season, I don't think they're good enough to actually, even with AD back, to make a bit of a play at things. So they are a pretender. The Phoenix Suns, the first team that's actually currently in a postseason spot. They sit 10th at the moment in the West. The Suns are a pretender. Now, this team will go as far as KD takes them. Unfortunately, he's got very little support at the moment. Devin Booker is hit and miss at the moment. Bradley Beal on the sidelines. There's just no consistency there. I have very little faith in Bradley Beal being a solid contributor to a championship winning team. Likewise, I don't think Nick Richards is at the level to be a starting championship level center. Therefore, they've got to be a pretender. And again, it's disappointing given the roster that they've had at their disposal over the last couple of seasons. They're another team that should have been eyeing a title, and unfortunately, they haven't really got remotely close to that. So they are a pretender. The Sacramento Kings. Now, I found this one super, super hard to go with. I toed and froed, and just yesterday they got pummeled by the Thunder. But despite that, oh, God, this one's hard. I'm going to go contender for the Sacramento Kings. I think their starting lineup is super potent there. Zach LaVine, Malik Monk, DeMar DeRozan, Keegan Murray, Sabonis there. I think with the firepower they've got, they could well make a run at things. I think their bench is super solid. Jake LaRavia there, Markel Fultz, Jonas Valanciunas. There's enough to like about them. If DeRozan can keep hitting threes and provide that outside threat, the way the rest of their roster's constructed, I don't think they're a team that many people would want to face. Now, I don't know. I think their defense is a little bit shaky, but I'm happy to run with them. I think their offense is good enough to actually make some waves in the postseason. Therefore, I've got them as a contender. I think that'll shock a few people, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that, though. Another team that I think might shock people, the Minnesota Timberwolves, I have as a pretender. Now, as I said, it might come as a surprise to some, but I just have very little faith in Julius Randle elevating this team in the postseason. Now, that was the big move, the offseason gone by. Moving on from Karl Anthony Towns, bringing in Dante DiVincenzo, Julius Randle. Despite that, I don't think Anthony Edwards has enough quality around him to help him night in and night out against the best in the league. A lot of these other contenders in the Western Conference have all got better around the Wolves, despite their pretty deep push last season. I think the Wolves have regressed, and unless Ant's going to score, 50 points night in and night out, I don't think they're good enough. So they are a pretender for me. That one, I reckon that one will get some backlash. Moving on to my next team, the LA Clippers. I've got them as a contender. Now, health is everything for this team, as many teams in the league. But if James Harden and Kawhi Leonard are healthy, they're dangerous. Kawhi has been on a phenomenal run as of late, playing some great, great basketball, looking just almost at his absolute best at the moment, I think. He's playing some outstanding ball. I think with Ben Simmons, Nicholas Batum, Bogdan Bogdanovic there, they've got enough depth or Bojan Bogdanovic, should I say. No, Bogdan. It is Bogdan. My apologies. It's horrible names, and Bojan and Bogdan Bogdanovic. My goodness. What were their parents thinking? Nevertheless, with Bogdanovic there as well, I think they've got enough depth to hold things, steady when the heavy hitters are off the floor as well. With Storm and Norman Powell, Ivica Zubac might be a solid, solid pick for most improved player this season as well. I really like where they're at. They're kind of just flying under the radar at the moment, but I don't think that will mind them. They currently sit 7th at the moment, half a game back of a guaranteed playoff spot for 6th in the West. If they can somehow push into that top 6, they are absolutely a team to be feared. The Golden State Warriors. I have them as a contender, but there's a big caveat on it. This is dependent on their rotations being shortened. Now, they've played all season long, incredibly deep roster, at least 10 deep. And that's with guys in and out of the lineup, things of the kind. This needs to be shortened considerably heading into the postseason. You need your best players playing more minutes than what they have. And this has probably been a conscious effort from the Warriors to give Steph, to give Draymond, those older bodies a little more rest, night in and night out. But come the postseason, these minutes need to ramp back up. I think Jimmy, he's fit pretty well seamlessly into this squad. Despite losing Klay Thompson in the offseason, Buddy Hield coming in, Jimmy Butler before the trade deadline, I think they're in a really, really good spot. And I just mentioned the Clippers trying to push towards a top 6 guaranteed playoff spot. The Warriors currently occupy that 6th position. If they can hold that and lock up a guaranteed playoff spot, again, another team that you certainly wouldn't want to count out. So therefore, I have them as a contender. Right, my next team, Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I can't wait for the backlash here. I've got them as a pretender. They're a team, and again, it's been the same old story. If you're a long-time listener of the Daily Dribble, you know that the Grizzlies, I've often bought into the Philadelphia 76ers and not often bought into the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, I've absolutely, you would say, got it backwards here, but I just don't know what it is about them. I can't put my finger on the Grizzlies, but there's something I'm just not buying into. Maybe it's, I honestly don't know what it is. They've got all the makings of a really, really high quality team. The star point guard in Jar, the shooting guard who can shoot the lights out in Desmond Bain. You've got the high quality 4 there in Jaren Jackson Jr. Depending if you start or bench Zach Edey, you've got the competent big man, really high quality role players. And yet I just can't bring myself to buy into them. So I've got them as a pretender. I think that one will receive quite a bit of backlash. But please let me know. Hit me up, as I said, in the socials, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, TikTok. Are the Memphis Grizzlies a legitimate title contending team this season? Would love to hear your thoughts. Going on to the Lakers, I had to put them down as a contender. Luka and LeBron, this is going to be must-watch TV in the postseason. Really like the way Luka's fitted in seamlessly into the fold, taking on that number 1 role, which was absolutely essential there. Take a bit of the load off LeBron. Austin Reeves playing some fantastic ball. Is undoubtedly the best third option in the league. A lot of reports coming out about that over the course of the last few weeks. He's backing it up night in and night out. I think Dorian Finney-Smith, getting him before the trade deadline, a fantastic bit of business there as well. Jackson Hayes playing some great ball. I think they've got enough depth there. Rui Hachimura coming back, slotting into a bench role on his return lately. Whether that continues or not, it's another story, but I think they're positioned really well at the moment. And as a Lakers fan, I certainly, I would love to see another ring on LeBron's finger. So fingers crossed there. The Denver Nuggets I have as a contender. Nikola Jokic, arguably the best player in the world, depending who you ask, has been so dominant for the last few years, with a supporting cast of still Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., Russell Westbrook, Christian Brown. That's a really high level. I wouldn't want to face them. You've seen what Nikola Jokic can do night in and night out. Depending on what Jamal Murray, Gordon, and Michael Porter Jr. you get, they could either be a first-round flameout or a title-winning team pretty convincingly. I'm erring on that side, so therefore I have them as a contender. The Houston Rockets. Hard to believe at the moment, given the way their season's going. They are 47-26, currently second in the Western Conference, a couple of games ahead of the Nuggets there. I've got them as a pretender. Now, I still think they need to take their playoff lumps. They've got players who have reached the mountaintop, who have had playoff experience. Fred VanVleet, Dylan Brooks, Steven Adams, guys like that. But I think their young core needs some reps. The Jalen Greens, the Alperen Senguns, the Jabari Smiths of the team. I just don't think they're going to be quite ready for the level that playoff ball goes up to. When you're facing these high-caliber teams night in and night out, I don't think they're going to get blown out, but I just think they might potentially get found out a little bit here. So as hard as it was, as I said, the number 2 seed, They've been fantastic all season long. Crazy. I had to put them as a pretender. And finally, the OKC Thunder. Goes without saying that they are undoubtedly a contender, being the best team in the league all season long. I think are certainly the team to beat. Have what looks set to be crowned pretty shortly the MVP at their disposal. They're going to be tough to beat. They look so well-rounded. They are so deep. They've got all bases covered on both ends of the floor. It's going to take a very mighty performance from any other team in the Western Conference, I think, to knock them off their pedestal this season. They are absolutely a contender. They're the clubhouse leader at the moment, probably not just for the Western Conference, but for the league as a whole. You would argue the Cavs have been great all season long. The Boston Celtics, the reigning champs as well. But at the moment, it seems like the team to beat is the Thunder. So they are a contender for me. Guys, there you have it. There culminates a 2-part series going through and giving my contenders or pretenders for both the East and Western Conference. As I said before, I'd love to hear your thoughts, what I got right, what I got wrong. I'm sure with a couple of those picks, there might be a little bit of critique coming my way, but I would love to hear it. So have at me on all the socials, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, and TikTok. Would love to hear all your thoughts. Appreciate you guys sticking with me week in and week out. We're coming up to rapidly approaching the most exciting time of the year as an NBA fan, postseason basketball. So I look forward to bringing you all the action very soon. Till next week, though, guys, have a fantastic week. Enjoy the remaining games of the regular season for the 2024-2025 season. And I can't wait to speak with you all next week. Till then, though, remember, be good or be good at it. See you guys.